If you aren't fully aware of the entire story around Kilmar Abrego Garcia, it is time to tune in, because Trump just pulled a stunt that could make this get really bad really fast. But there are still a couple of ways that this could go that could end amicably, at least for Abrego Garcia. This is a difficult topic for me because frankly it's terrifying, but also because I'm a married dad with an American family just like him. But at the same time, I'm a straight white male American citizen. If I can't speak up on behalf of him as a member of the most privileged class in this country, who will? So first, Abrego Garcia was born in El Salvador, but he came here at 15 years old in 2011. He came here because violent cartels were extorting money from his family business. But his older brother was a U.S. citizen, so he wanted to come and live with him and start a life. Because he was 15, he was not an illegal immigrant. He was a child seeking asylum. And the immigration court at the time denied his request for asylum, but also gave him legal protection from deportation due to the risk of violence if he returned home. As a young adult, Abrego Garcia married a U.S. citizen who had her own kids here. Together, they had their own son who was an American-born U.S. citizen. He was working as a sheet metal apprentice working toward his journeyman's license, but because he was Hispanic with tattoos, he couldn't last 100 days into Trump's tenure. He was driving down the street in March with his son in the car, and he was profiled, arrested, detained, and sent to Texas and deported only 3 days later without due process. Abrego Garcia has never been charged or convicted of a crime in El Salvador or the United States, and had been living here peacefully since 2011. At this point, I have to pause because I'm a dad with a 7-year-old son. Abrego Garcia should be in the midst of one of the most hilarious and enjoyable phases of fatherhood, but Trump robbed him of that. Now he's in a prison in El Salvador full of the same cartel members that he was trying to run away from in the first place. A federal judge demanded the Trump administration bring Abrego Garcia back home. Trump administration appealed that to the Supreme Court, and they ruled 9-0 against him. Even Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito voted with the majority against Trump, a ruling that Trump said he would obey. But then, in the most insane White House visit by a foreign leader since at least a week ago, the authoritarian president of El Salvador comes to the White House and says no. Remember, this is a man the United States taxpayers are paying $25,000 a year to keep Abrego Garcia in prison. We are paying them $6 million for all of the people we illegally deported there. And this guy comes and sits in the Oval Office and looks at the president, who says he's the most powerful man in the world, who says he's the greatest negotiator on the planet. And he says, I'm not sending him back. And Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, the man who swore an oath to defend due process, the man who is the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military in the history of the world, obeys. Now keep in mind, this is a fast-moving story, and this is not going away, because Chris Van Hollen, the senator from Maryland who represents Abrego Garcia, already requested his own meeting with the president of El Salvador and already committed to traveling to El Salvador this week to negotiate the return of Abrego Garcia, assuming Trump can't get it done himself.